nice.
Yep, nice and simple. That big red button really helps.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
So if you want to hit the intro button and we'll get moving.
Let's do this.
All right. Welcome to My Dad's Movie Podcast. I'm Mick Johnson. I'm the dad. And with me, I've got a guest co-host. I have Justin Zarian.
Once again, somebody who is not one of his sons.
Yay!
So this is not My Dad's Movie Podcast.
It's not even my dad's movie podcast. My dad passed away, so.
My dad doesn't really do podcast. Like, he likes listening to podcasts, but he doesn't really do podcasting. I mean, he does video calls. Maybe he probably should do a podcast someday.
Oh, we'll have to. We should call him up.
Oh, I mean, he wouldn't probably do. I mean, he likes movies, but not like that.
Not that way. Oh.
Yeah, he's a lawyer, so he handles legal stuff a lot.
So we'll talk to him about what is it, the Pelican Brief.
Actually, his movie tastes tend to go more mainstream. Like, so here's the thing: my dad, like, him and my brother are very smart people, but they have very different approaches for media. Oh. So my dad, his favorite movies, on the one hand, one of his favorite movies is Apollo 13, which is a great freaking movie.
Apollo 13, I love it.
Yeah. On the other hand, Armageddon, which is a fun movie.
Oh, yeah,
Not exactly what you call a classic, but maybe to some people. But yeah, that's the thing where it's like, hey, he has that spectrum where it's like he knows what he likes. He likes space movies. He likes action movies.
Right.
He doesn't like things that are too intense, kind of thing. And my brother's kind of the same. He likes
anything with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, you know what? Probably. I think it depends on the movie in some cases, but I know he likes Bruce Willis.
Nice.
And then my brother is kind of the same. Although it's funny, I talked to my brother this weekend. I was at my niece's birthday, and my brother was there as well. And I told him, like, hey, here's one of the movies I'm talking about this weekend. And he's like, oh, I hated that movie. I didn't think it was funny at all.
Which one did he not like?
I will have to tell you when we get there.
Right on. So tonight we are actually going to be talking about Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks?
Yeah. And two of his movies. He's done a lot of stuff, but we're going to talk about Young Frankenstein. And we are talking about, what's the other one?
The Producers.
Oh, The Producers. That's right.
Yeah. There are some people, I am one of them, who would probably say these are two of his very best movies.
Really?
Well, so The Producers was his first movie, actually, too. Like his first, at least his first non-TV outing, because this was like his big graduation to feature film making.
Okay.
Then I want to say Young Frankenstein was, there was a bit of a gap between this and Producers. So I don't know if he made anything specifically between at that point, but he did Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles the same year, sometime after The Producers. Okay. I think it might have been a thing that he filmed both of them like back to back or close enough to each other. They just happened to release at the same time, kind of thing.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, which happens. Heck, freaking Richard Linklater has two films that he filmed that are both premiering this year too. I don't know how some people do it, unless you're David Parks.
That's right.
Also, hi David.
Pumping out a movie a month. What?
I just could not believe that. I'm like, it makes sense when you understand the production schedule kind of thing. But
right.
even that, to make a full feature-length movie in that short a time, my goodness.
That's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah. And thankfully, he's got a very dedicated group of friends and actors to work with. So.
That's right.
But yes, so Mel Brooks, I have a few facts on him, too. So, curiously, I did not know this. His full name is Melvin James Kaminsky. Brooks is just a stage name that he chose, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I do have his father's name is Max Kaminsky. You're right.
Yeah. So, Mel Brooks, he's pretty well acclaimed. He's an EGOT winner because he won for, I think, one of his Grammys just for like a comedy album, or it was the Producers album for the musical version.
Okay.
But then, he won the Tony Award because the Producers, when it came out, was at that time the record holder for most Emmys. Not Emmys, Tonys won ever, I think. So... but yeah, he's a legend, and he's shockingly still alive as of this recording.
Yeah, and I think I looked him up. He looks really good still.
Yeah, for being literally almost 100 years old.
Yeah.
Like literally he is 99 right now.
Right.
So
I wonder what he's working on right now.
Spaceballs 2.
Okay.
Yeah. No, apparently there was a big video that came out like, I want to say a month ago, and basically he was just like, oh yeah, I'm glad to be a part of this. Let's get started.
Right.
Because they had that one of those things where they did a long list, like a Star Wars credit, because of course it's going to be like, we're going to parody every space sci-fi movie that's come out in the last how many years.
Right.
Which I have some thoughts on that, because Mel Brooks is a very funny guy and a good filmmaker at points. I think Mel Brooks' problem almost is his success kind of started to define how he was making movies for a long time. Because, you know, he did Producers, he did Young Frankenstein, and then he did Blazing Saddles as well. And Blazing Saddles was probably the most popular one. Like, it was like the biggest mainstream hit, I think, of those three. Although all three got like Academy Award nominations and wins in some cases.
Yeah.
But it seems that Blazing Saddles had the biggest influence on what kind of movies he would make afterwards. Because then it feels like every other movie after Blazing Saddles is a Blazing Saddles style parody movie.
Really?
Well, because you think Spaceballs, Robin Hood Men in Tights, Dracula Dead and Loving It, Silent Movie. They're all those kind of movies that they're like big slapstick comedy shtick kind of stuff.
Right.
Very lowbrow, very like dependent on your knowledge of pop culture. I mean, literally Robin Hood Men in Tights is just a parody of the Robin Hood movie with Kevin Costner, but with extra jokes, poop jokes, and Jew jokes.
Right.
Because that's what Mel Brooks does, you know? And it's like, he can make some really funny movies.
Right.
It just seems like,
You know, along with the funniness of things, do you think that a lot of the stuff he does also, there's a lot of like political stuff going on?
sometimes, I mean, obviously Mel Brooks has opinions and stuff, especially with The Producers. He made it specifically due to, I mean, when The Producers came out, World War II had only ended like 2 decades earlier to that point.
Right.
So it was kind of a thing where he mentioned that it was a statement against how he was treated as a Jewish person living in America, and based on everything that happened with the Holocaust. So he was just like, all right, well, I'm going to pour all that into a movie, basically. Because apparently, I guess he used to be like insulted and called like, "Hey, Jew boy," and stuff like that.
Right.
Which is, you know, I can understand that. That can be kind of, you know, that sucks. You know, to be just stereotyped with your thing. Of course, then he would start to build a career stereotyping Jews
Sure.
forever. But you know, that's a whole other discussion to have there. I'm not Jewish. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah. So I mean, there is stuff to say about his history. Famously, he was married to Anne Bancroft back in the day too.
Yep.
And that actually affected the casting in one of the roles for The Producers.
Until she passed away.
Yeah, which, you know, hey, good on him, man. He stayed married to her his entire life, and they were happy. They were happy together, and I believe they had some children. And yeah. I mean, I think he may have been married before as well, but yeah, he was with Anne Bancroft.
He was married before, but I did not. I don't think I put down his first marriage.
Florence Baum. Yeah, so they got divorced 2 years before he met and married Anne Bancroft. So, but yeah, so he's, I mean, you know, there's not much to say other than he's a legend. You know, he worked with some of the comedy giants of television back in the day, like Carl Reiner and stuff like that too.
Well, he's been involved in this stuff almost 100 years. So, I mean, how can you not become a legend based on that?
I mean, he was famously, one of the big starts he got was with Sid Caesar, Your Show of Shows, which, I mean, I've only seen so much Sid Caesar. I think my first exposure to Sid Caesar was Whose Lines It Anyways, where him being almost like 90-something years old too, guest starred in one of their episodes. And I'm like, who the heck is Sid Caesar? Why'd they make a big deal about this? And then you look into it, you're like, oh, he's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he did that. He worked with Woody Allen. He worked with Carl Reiner. He worked with a lot of big people in the industry at the time. So, but yeah, Producers was his big shot across the bow. Like, hey, this is me being a director and me making a movie and me making my own story that I want to do.
Yeah. So he was born in 1926 in Brownsville, Brooklyn.
Yep. New York City.
Yeah. And that's so what? The funny thing I think I read was that he was actually born on a kitchen table.
You know, that sounds like a Mel Brooks story he would tell. Like, oy, my mother, I was born on a kitchen table, and that's why I'm always hungry.
Right. He came out making a movie. Yeah.
See, I try to do Mel Brooks, and it just slips into Rodney Dangerfield. I don't know why. No respect.
It was a good try.
Well, Mel Brooks has a unique voice with that kind of raspy, kind of deeper voice like that. Very Brooklyn, like you're saying, kind of thing. But then, I mean, he's made how many movies? Like he hasn't really made any new movies in quite a while, actually, too. Like Spaceballs 2 is kind of the big, like, I think the last thing he did was his History of the World Part 2 miniseries that he did.
Oh,
which no one I know saw.
I didn't see it.
No one cared. It's like, look, I mean, not to just diss. I'm just saying, like, History of the World Part 1's not exactly considered his best movie either. So it's like you make a sequel, a legacy sequel 30 years after that movie came out.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's only so many diehard History of the World fans.
Right.
But then, yeah, let's see. He did fight in World War II apparently as well.
Yeah, I think I saw he was an engineer.
Yes, he was. Let's see. Received high score, specialized training. Yep.
Trained to be a combat engineer, Army Reserve.
Yep. Then he was at Fort Dix in New Jersey for a bit. And then he did some overseas work. So I don't think he did a whole lot of combat per se.
I don't believe so.
So, okay, you know what? He was a engineer during the Battle of the Bulge, apparently.
Oh.
So he may not have been on the front lines, but he was doing work within the area there, kind of thing. So, hey, man, a veteran too. Like, being 100 years old, he has lived a very long life and a very busy life.
He's done a lot of stuff.
One of my favorite random facts about him, though, his son Max is the writer who wrote World War Z, the book.
With Brad...
So, yeah, the movie is like loosely based on the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it is that one you're thinking of. Because, but yeah, for anyone who hasn't read it, World War Z is an incredible book. It's written, like, you know, for being the son of a comedian, it's not a funny book. It's a straightforward zombie book. But the whole idea is that the book is written as if it's a documentary where they're interviewing all the people who have outlived the zombie apocalypse and all their stories about what they had to do to get to this point, essentially.
I got you.
And it's a really great book.
So do you know, does his son Max, is he also involved in acting and stuff like that also? Or?
I don't think he's involved in acting. I think he just mostly does writing and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, I only know so much about his family, like mostly just Anne Bancroft being the big one.
Right.
Because, you know, then for people who don't know, Anne Bancroft is Mrs. Robinson from The Graduate. So that's like her most famous role that she ever did.
Yep.
So, because I think she also was she the one who was in The Miracle Worker? Where I think...
I don't know.
I think she is. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think she either was up for or won an Oscar for that movie too. Yep. I think actually that was her. So.
Okay.
Yes. Where she played Anne Sullivan on that one. So.
Nice.
Hey, you know, Mel Brooks surrounds himself with a lot of people of great talent, but he himself is also great talent.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, that might be one way that you become great. Surround yourself with great people.
Yeah. So, anything else we wanted to talk about his background before we get started?
Let me see. We got who he was married to. We've got his son. I do have that he was kind of a small, sickly boy. I think you had mentioned that he was teased quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, he got teased for a lot of reasons, but that does sound like probably something that happened too.
Sure.
Funny, for, again, being a small, sickly boy to being almost 100 years old. He outlived all those people.
I've got at age 9, he saw a movie, Anything Goes.
Oh.
And at that point, he told his uncle that he wanted to go into show business.
That sounds about right.
After seeing that. Yeah, that's...
Yeah. I've never seen Anything Goes, so...
I haven't either.
Nah.
Not yet.
There's a big gap in my movie history for, like, old... Like, I've seen a lot of old movies, but there are still, like, you know... There are more movies you can watch than in your whole lifetime, essentially. Right. So, just the rate we make movies these days.
And then you had mentioned that he won Oscars and Emmys. I've got one of the few people to ever receive an Oscar, an Emmy, a Tony, and a Grammy.
Yep, the EGOT. Now, I think he's only a single EGOT winner compared to some people who are double EGOT winners. So,
well,
which, hey, an EGOT is still an accomplishment.
Yeah, he's got something to work on there. So, for the future.
Yeah, he's got how many more years afterwards? No, but...
you got to get busy, Mel.
I'll get... as they say, get busy living or get busy dying.
Yeah, shh. Don't say that too loud.
Okay, sorry. I'm just quoting Morgan Freeman.
Just in case Mel's listening.
He definitely has the time to just reach out to this random podcast and go, hey!
That's right. That would be so cool if he called up.
Dude, holy.
So you had said that he changed his name.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's fairly common for a lot of people back then, especially, like, I don't agree with it, but there are people where if they have, I guess, unconventional or exotic sounding names, they tend to change their names for stage reasons. So
Yeah.
I know Mel Brooks did it. I know that Gene Wilder also, no, sorry. What's his, Zero Mostel, I think also maybe had a stage name. And I think some other people too. Because if I recall, no, actually, I'm sorry, Gene Wilder it was. He has a stage name as well.
Oh.
Oh yeah, no.
What was Gene Wilder?
Gene Wilder's name is Jerome Silberman.
Oh.
And yeah, so that's the thing. It's a very common practice for people, especially in, comedies and show business, to have a more exotic sound or more cool sounding name, like Mel Brooks, short, sweet, to the point.
Right, right.
There's like a bunch of people in Hollywood still who do that. Like, one of my favorites is the guy who's the lead from Walking Dead. Did you watch Walking Dead back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Andrew Lincoln, the main character. You know what his real last name is? Clutterbuck.
No, it's not.
No,
You just made that up.
I am not. I am 100% serious. If you look up his name is Andrew Clutterbuck.
All right.
Yeah, so you can see why he maybe wanted to go with the more straightforward name.
I understand why he changed his name. Right.
But then you still got Benedict Cumberbatch and Imogen Poots and people like that out there, which, you know what? Hey, be proud. Carry that name with you.
Cumberbatch is kind of a cool name, though.
Dude, Benedict Cumberbatch has a great, consonant
That's
rhythm
right.
to it.
That's
thing.
right. So his mom's name was Brookman. So is that where he pulled Brooks from, do you think?
That sounds right.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So there's usually two things that I kind of like to, with the director before I get into their movies, I kind of like to find out what their style is, what we see kind of over and over and over.
I was curious if you were going to say that because I kind of have to think about that with Mel Brooks because he's not exactly a stylistic director per se.
Well, and that's fine. If he's not, if you don't really see a constant style with him, that's, and then the other thing I like to always find out is kind of their inspiration. Usually you find out directors, they had certain movies that they really liked, directors that kind of inspired them to go in certain directions.
Yeah. I think mostly with Mel Brooks, if you want to talk about his style, it's more in his writing than it is in his directorial style. He tends to do very simple staging with a lot of his stuff. He likes his sets. He likes big sets, set work kind of thing.
I noticed that with Young Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, and those were repurposed sets from the original Frankenstein movie.
Oh, were they?
Yeah. They were just available, and he was just like, are you guys using these?
I'll use it.
Well, that's why it's so authentic feeling, because you're just like, that is the actual set. They just did some touches and refurbished it a bit. Huh. But mostly it's about his style of humor that he usually is very, he's crass, he's not raunchy and gross all the time, but he definitely has a certain kind of lowbrow humor mixed in with his social commentary and his running gags and one-liners and stuff like that. I mean, even The Producers kind of feels like an aberration to his normal writing style because it feels more like a play, which makes sense because then they adapted to a musical so many years later.
I think when I think about Mel Brooks, one of the things I think about is slapstick.
Yep.
But almost to the point where it's slapstick without the slapstick part of it.
Yeah, I mean there is slapstick there, but it is just very goofy. It's very he made especially as his career went on, his films just became live action cartoons essentially, just with the heightened style, the over the top characters, the silly nonsensical gags. I mean, there's literally a character in Spaceballs called Pizza the Hut that's just a living mound of pizza.
I remember him.
So he's not exactly going for intellectual Kafka-esque metaphor with this stuff.
Right. Pizza the Hut was just there to make you laugh.
Well, and that's the thing too, is his movies, even with the stuff they tackle, their first priority is just to be goofy and fun.
Right.
Blazing Saddles has its social commentary elements, but that's not just the point. The point is to also make you laugh, essentially.
Yeah. And there was a lot of stuff in there that did that.
Yeah. Blazing Saddles is actually one of those ones where I'm like, I like it, and I like what it did for movies. It's not my favorite Mel Brooks movie, but I see why it would be some people's favorite Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
He used Gene Wilder in a lot of his stuff, didn't he?
Yes. Well, especially because the first movie, Gene Wilder got an Oscar nomination for it.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it turned out that became a very profitable collaboration. Now, it's weird because he's not in a lot of his later stuff, but at least early on, he used Gene Wilder for like Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, The Producers, and a bunch of his earlier works.
Right.
But yeah, he likes his saturated look for colors, with the exception of Young Frankenstein being black and white. But he likes to have a very kind of like sugar-coated, like, visual look to it, kind of thing.
Right.
Again, nothing too exotic in his staging. It's just very like, I mean, and mostly because Mel Brooks's technical work and background come from the fact that he worked TV for so many years. And apparently that actually was a huge problem with The Producers, that TV works in such a streamlined production format.
Right.
Then we realized how much harder it is to get movies made. He apparently had a really hard time making The Producers because of that. Because he's like, how come you guys just can't get the sets, arranged the way so quickly? We do it on television all the time.
Right.
And they're like, well, it's not a TV show, man. We're using a bigger, more elaborate stage. And like, yeah, but why? Why does it have to take so much time?
Right.
So apparently he had some meltdowns on set over that too. So that's probably why his filming style is not too exotic, because it's like, yeah, this is how you get it done on TV. You just get the shots, boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I can't think of anything that would be like a oneer or some kind of exotic shot in most of his stuff. And even his like effect work, I mean, obviously he's not working with huge budgets for his films, but they're meant to look cheap as well. Like Spaceballs, no one's going to say those are great effects even when they came out.
Right.
But that was the point. They were meant to look goofy.
Right.
You got a space station that turns into a giant maid trying to suck up all the oxygen on the planet.
That was part of the silliness.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that happens. There's people these days where that is part of their style, where it's like, yeah, these visual effects, they're not meant to look convincing because they're not supposed to be convincing.
Right. So I wrote down some of his inspirations. It looked like he really liked silent films.
Yep. And then that's where his Silent Movie came from.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, not a great movie, but it's one of those ones like, okay, this is purely his love letter to silent cinema kind of thing.
Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton. I read that he had admitted that the Adolf Hitler from Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, the Great Dictator.
Right.
Yes.
He used that as inspiration for The Producers.
Yes, because he wanted that kind of level of like commentary, where for people who don't know, the Great Dictator is the whole gag that Chaplin had the mustache like Hitler.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, but Chaplin's whole point with that movie too was a guy mistaken as a world leader, and then him making the passionate speech for peace kind of thing.
Right.
And that's kind of his approach, but he also wanted the goofier element of that. Like, what if we did that, but we did it in this ludicrous parody way as well?
Right. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Great Dictator is a great film, too. So,
The Ritz Brothers. I don't know who the Ritz Brothers are.
Not as familiar with them.
Vaudeville comedy.
Okay. That makes sense, too, because, I mean, even when you look at the way The Producers is shot, it's very much like, 2 or 3 people in a room talking to each other. It's all about the banter and the wordplay kind of thing.
The other one, he talked about Alfred Hitchcock's movies.
Yes, and I think he made a film that's a parody of Hitchcock movies, too.
Did he?
Yeah, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's got like a parody name like Vertigo, but not the same way kind of thing. Oh, and I think it's High Anxiety was the film that he made on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, no, Mel Brooks, like, again, it's one of those things where I've seen his best movies, and then I've seen some of his not great movies. Yeah. And even some of his not great movies have funny parts, but Mel Brooks is more great because of who Mel Brooks is than the consistency of his output, I feel like. When you hear Mel Brooks like in a voice role, like, I mean, he did a bunch of animated movies like Robots. He had a featured cameo on that one. Hotel Transylvania 2, I think he was in that one too as their grandpa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah, he's a distinct personality, and that's why people like having him around. Right. Like, oh, yeah, you know what you're going to get when you get Mel Brooks in.
That's right. So, The Producers was his first.
Mm-hmm. That was his directorial debut for feature films.
1967.
Which I think he filmed it like a year or two before. And he had been working on it with like a 30-page script pitch for like at least a good year or two. Because, when you think about it, the movie apparently cost like maybe $1 million to film, which doesn't seem like a lot nowadays, but we also have a very skewed view of what $1 million is worth.
Sure.
So, but yeah, if I recall, that's like basically how much it cost to make the entire movie.
Yeah.
Which you've got to raise a lot of money to do that.
That's right. So talk about The Producers. Tell me about it.
Well, so just a quick synopsis for people who have never heard of The Producers, which shame on you for either version. But basically the premise is that Zero Mostel is a Broadway producer, Max Bialystock, who is down on his luck. He's been producing flop play after flop play, and he's essentially only able to survive by conning and romancing old ladies to get their money.
I thought that was hilarious.
It's quite a thing. Apparently, that was a part that was apparently hard to sell people on when they were pitching the script originally, because it's like, this guy is such a repugnantly pathetic character.
Right.
And, but it's just so, like, it's just crazy.
Well,
but
I hadn't seen The Producers before. I just watched it a couple of days ago.
Oh.
And initially in the beginning of it, I kind of made some notes, and I was watching and stuff. In the beginning of the show, it was kind of slow for me, and I thought, this just isn't my thing. I'm not into this. This just doesn't seem very funny to me. Mm-hmm. But then once Gene Wilder came in and things kind of started to happen, then it's like, okay, now
that's like 2 minutes into the movie, to be
well,
fair.
Yeah. So 2 minutes in, I thought, I don't like this.
Yeah. Well, so basically, yeah, on that note, they're just saying that Gene Wilder's an accountant who comes in to essentially go over his books to make sure that his play is accounted for properly. And it turns out they find a loophole, at least just based on a thought experiment, that if no one cares if your play flops about how much money you actually spent or where you spent it on. So their idea is, well, if we raise $1 million and we only make a $60,000 play that flops, no one's going to care what we do with the rest of that money.
Right.
But obviously there's the catch that if the play actually does make money, then you're never going to be able to pay back all the backers you con all the money out of.
People are going to want some return.
Yeah. I mean, and essentially they mentioned in the movie, they're like, yeah, how much of this movie have we sold? 25,000%. Right. Because they're just handing the checks like, Mrs. Cartwright, she owns 50%.
Didn't
Mrs.
they have
Allen,
100%? Yeah. You get 100%. It's like,
yeah. So, I mean, and that's really like the base premise in a nutshell. And the way they're going to try to do it is that they're going to produce the worst play ever, essentially. And the worst play ever apparently is a script they find on a pile of scripts that's essentially a love letter to Hitler written by a former Nazi. Yeah. Played here by Kenneth Mars in this case. And yeah, that's just following that and the crazy cast of characters they interact with to try and pull this plot off.
Yeah. And it probably, when they actually made the play and it got going and stuff, people hated it until who's the actor that they got?
Dick Shawn.
Yeah,
playing LSD.
Right. Until he started his thing, it was a flop.
Yeah,
and then he started, and it's like, okay, well, now it's funny.
It's funny because apparently someone mentioned that there's a plot element similar to this in the Ayn Rand book Fountainhead. So that may or may not have been a thing that inspired the premise of like someone trying to purposely fail and accidentally succeeding kind of thing. It's a classic comedy of errors issue too. But it's just, I just got to say, first of all, this movie, the acting is really interesting because it's meant to be super broad. So everybody is playing their characters at like 11 in this movie, which is part of its charm, I feel like, because you got like Zero Mostel, who's a trained Broadway actor. He was the original Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof on stage, actually. Oh. Yeah, so he won a Tony Award for that one. So that's how he got involved in this.
Nice.
And for Gene Wilder,
that's a good head start.
Oh yeah, and then Gene Wilder, this was his second or third movie, because then he made his film debut with Bonnie and Clyde back in the 60s. Oh. And so this was like his follow-up role on that one.
Okay.
And like they really have to carry this movie on their shoulders. And apparently from what I heard, they just had a very natural chemistry with each other on set because they're both these very kind of larger than life manic personalities, which you wouldn't think with Gene Wilder just looking at him. But, that's part of his allure of him being like the seemingly simple guy who's actually kind of nutty underneath kind of thing.
Right.
And that's definitely the character he plays in this and pretty much all of his career. But they're great. I think that they both are really, really fun in this. Some people, even back in the day, criticized that Zero Mostel is acting the heck out of this role. Like he's just going so over the top with his line reading. But I think that's why it kind of makes it funny, personally.
Well, yeah, he's acting like an actor.
Yeah.
You know,
He's acting like a trained Broadway actor trying to yell to the back of the stage.
right,
To make sure the whole audience can hear him.
Right.
It just so happens the audience is also the camera.
Right.
In this case. But I mean, again, it's one of those things where you could say that's overacting, but everybody is acting at that level in this movie. There's no character here who is playing it subtle in this film.
No. Everybody's kind of over the top.
Yeah, the Nazi character Franz Liebken is over the top.
Right.
The Swedish secretary who barely speaks English is over the top. The gay director and his boyfriend are over the top. Everybody is over the top in this movie.
I loved those guys.
Roger Debris and
it was so funny.
Yeah. It's not the thing. It's like, obviously they're playing on very broad stereotypes with some of that stuff, but that in itself is kind of the humor of it, because they're not like, I mean, okay, yes, most of the jokes are at expense of whatever group they're tagging with this stuff, but
Right.
I like those characters. They're funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roger, and again, I forget what his Carmen, his assistant boyfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
They're funny. They're just funny characters. And Roger definitely has a lot of like, again, he's acting at 11 to match everybody else. So he's like, oh, yes, wonderful. So full of historical goodies. I never realized Third Reich meant Germany.
Right.
Yeah, it's just fun. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's a thing with like comedies where they get a little bit of a license to just be silly. And it's okay sometimes for like, it only doesn't work if it's not being funny.
Right.
But if everyone else if it's good material and everyone keeps it up to that level, then it's just kind of part of the charm of the movie.
It always also throws me off a little bit because when I see stuff in an old movie that I think, were they allowed to get away with that sort of stuff back
No.
then?
That was actually kind of a big deal with this movie, is that it was pushing buttons to some
Right.
degree. Like they actually,
So the secretary, the secretary, the girl that would dance and was
Yeah,
barely dressed.
Ulla.
Yeah. I'm watching her and their reaction to her and her dancing and stuff, and I'm thinking, man. And what it reminded me of was actually an Alfred Hitchcock, The Rear Window.
oh yeah,
They have a girl across the way who is I don't know what she was, a yoga instructor or a dancer or something.
oh yeah. When he was looking through the windows, you see that one girl
right.
over
and,
there.
and she's over there and she's dancing and she's bending over, and it's pretty risque. And then the secretary kind of doing the same type of thing, and I was thinking, man, I it's hard to believe that during that time that was okay to be doing that. You know what I mean?
That's a thing that's eternal with all entertainment. I mean, there's always going to be the desire for sex appeal in some cases. I mean, we do that nowadays still. We just are much more stealthy with it because of PC culture.
Well, the gray area or the line, back then, it's like to get something on TV or censorship or those types of things, you couldn't do a whole lot. I mean, things were just very, you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, the 60s was a huge turning point because that's when we started eliminating things like the Hays Code, during the 50s and the 60s to put more stuff out there. Because, I mean, that was, an institutionalized censorship for many, many years. And then, once the 60s came in, that's when you could go, okay, why can't we make a movie where we make fun of Nazis? Why can't we have a movie where we do this stuff? Because that was really probably the biggest accomplishment of the producers is it did it first. Maybe if not first, it did it the most significantly,
right,
kind of thing. Because it was one of the things where people were still very like, I don't know how we can approach this without being insensitive.
Right.
But he did it. It's like, yeah, he's not making light any of the stuff that happened. He's just also making fun of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with even Franz Liebken's character, because the stuff he says is pretty insane. Talking about Hitler being an amazing painter and Churchill's just a nobody who was riding on his coattails, kind of thing, and all of his birds are named after all the generals of the Nazis, kind of thing. But it's like, yeah, in any other hands, this character would be probably really hard to make funny. But Kenneth Mars, who actually I found out is the voice of King Triton from The Little Mermaid. That was his other most significant role he did.
Okay.
But like there's just something about his manic delivery and how they make you like his character, even though you're not really you shouldn't like this guy. But he just says and does funny things. You're like, okay, I can put up with this lunatic essentially. But yeah, like even just, I remember I actually did some excerpts from this during acting when I was in acting classes in high school.
Okay.
So we did a reading of some of the scenes with Franz Liebkin and some of the other characters. It was really funny. Just like, I was never a member of the Nazi party. I was only following orders. Don't tell me. Why do you torment me? But you know, it's just silly. It's just fun. Kind of thing. I'm going to sound fairly biased on this because I love this movie. Like, this is maybe one of my favorite comedies ever, kind of thing. And I actually discovered it in high school. Like, I got exposed to it fairly young. And that's just one of those things where I'm like, huh, this is really funny. I've never seen this before. What is this?
Right.
And it just caught me in the right mood where I'm just like, yeah, this movie is quotable. It's got so many great lines. It's got great characters. It's got it's really short. Like, this movie is like an in and out comedy, like, you know, in the classic sense of like, oh, it's barely like 85, 90 minutes at most, I think.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So all the interactions between the characters, and I thought all the characters were really cool.
Yeah.
But like I said, I really liked so they went to the apartment, they're the gay guys.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Roger Debris.
Yeah. So I didn't pick up, what did they go to him for, to help produce it?
No, so he's the director. So the whole point,
it.
what they were saying when maybe you were distracted by Ula and her amazing
That might
dancing.
have been it. I couldn't get past that.
But while that scene, they were talking about how Roger was like the worst director in all of Broadway, where his plays closed during rehearsal previews. So they wanted to recruit him, thinking like, oh, he's absolutely the worst choice to pick this terrible play.
Right. It'll be a disaster.
Yeah. And then that's the thing where you think they're right, because when Roger's reading it, you know, first of all, he's like, he clearly doesn't know his history.
Right.
But then also he's like, oh, I'm just so tired of the typical kind of plays. Showgirls in flashy outfits, step, kick, turn. But this play's too depressing. It needs something. I got it. Girls in flashy outfits, step, kick, turn. And you start to see you're like, okay, yeah, this is why they picked him, because he's a lunatic also. Although, again, that's pretty par for the course for the characters in here.
Yeah.
Actually, though, even just rewatching it today, which, again, I've seen this like 10, 15 times, the part that gets me the best, and I still think totally holds up, is Dick Shawn as LSD. Like, that dude, he's only in this movie for, I think, you could probably say like 10 minutes at most.
Right.
But you never forget him. He is the most over-the-top, silly, beatnik hippie parody you've ever seen in your life. And apparently that was actually kind of his thing that he liked to do. He liked to play these kind of like silly parodies of these characters. Sadly, he also had a very tragic death in real life, too.
Oh, really?
He literally died on stage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like he had a heart attack and people didn't actually know that was part
That
of
was part of the show.
Yeah, it wasn't until the paramedics came in. But having said that, not just be fully depressing, yeah, no, he literally, like, every scene he does, he makes a meal out of it, essentially. Because there's the whole dance number he does for his audition, and it's... I just... Even today, I was laughing at it.
Right.
It's just so...
Well, it was funny that for the audition, when he goes in, he's not even auditioning for this. He thinks he's at a different place.
Is this where they're auditioning? Boomerang, baby?
Right. Right. But that character, when they make him Hitler, it's the same character. It's exactly the same.
He's just playing Hitler as a beatnik
as
hippie.
himself. Right.
Hey, baby, I leave you, baby. I leave you. Now leave me alone.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Like, and you can see where it's like, okay, there's the whole premise of it, like where it's so terrible that it's actually funny. But it actually helps that it's actually kind of funny to watch, too. Right. It's not just, you know, it's not like watching The Room or some actually terrible movie. You're like, oh, no, this was designed to be so horrible that it's funny, kind of thing. And it's great. I think it's one of the things too, like the plot itself is, it's fairly straightforward. It's a simple scheme. There's literally, back in the day, I bought an iTunes comedy album with a bunch of songs from like classic Broadway and Hollywood stuff. And they had a segment that's just the plot of The Producers. And it's that one scene where Zero Mostel and Gene Wilder are talking to each other. And they essentially outline the premise of the entire movie. Oh. And, that part when he's explaining the scheme of, like, how do you make $1 million and keep the money without spending too much kind of thing. That whole thing is like a 3 to 4 minute soundbite on the soundtrack. Oh. And that's the plot. Like, literally, it's not much more complex than that other than a couple twists and turns. So it's like, yeah, it's not exactly new ground it's breaking in terms of its premise, but it's its style and its wordplay and its comedy that really makes it work. And I mean, that's why it won an Oscar for its script.
Right. Yeah. Well, it definitely worked.
Yeah. I mean, so and I'm curious, like you mentioned like it being a little slow in the beginning, which I mean, to be fair, that opening scene is not my favorite. It's a funny idea, but I mean, it's a scene being played over the opening credits and it goes on for like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, it seems like. So
I think for me what happened is like you had said, the way that he kind of was overacting.
Mm-hmm.
So when the show starts up and he's with these little old women and clearly he's trying to take them, right?
To seduce them for their money kind of thing.
And the way that he's talking and the way that he's acting and overacting and stuff, I didn't realize in the beginning kind of what this was about, because I didn't really look into what the Producers was really about.
Oh, okay.
And so, I was thinking, well, this is just kind of silly. This is kind of stupid. I don't, you know what I mean?
No, it's totally fair.
It wasn't until it got going that then I realized, okay, this is part of the thing. This is the funny part.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is, it's definitely a hurdle to get over when you get into the movie. You're like, okay, if you can accept this premise of this dude seducing octogenarian women for their money,
Right.
then you'll probably take anything else that throws it your way.
Right.
Yeah. No, but like, I mean, was there any like big high or low points that you felt personally since like you said, this is probably you said it's your first time watching this movie?
First time I've seen Producers, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, like any other like big impressions that you thought one way or the other?
Not really, not like big stuff, but I really, once it got going, I really enjoyed what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the interactions between the characters and stuff. And I found the whole idea of them creating this play, even though they wanted it to be a flop, they created this play about Hitler, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's just fun. I mean, I keep saying that. It's just true. It's a fun, easy to watch movie, I feel like, and I think the thing is like it's filmed, like I said, there's not really a lot of style to it other than I think like the only thing I mentioned, and I mentioned to you off mic too, that it's a very gold and yellow looking movie.
Oh, that's right.
And it's apparently only because Mel Brooks just thought yellow was a funny color. So it's his style was a joke.
It's just to add to the funniness of it.
Yeah, because I didn't really think about that. Maybe it was just that my old DVD back in the day was a little more washed out. But then watching it on Tubi even today, which you can find it on Tubi, it's free.
Right.
But I just thought, yeah, I didn't remember this being so yellow. But yeah, everything is yellow in this movie.
Right. There were some characters on there that did you know that Mel Brooks was a voiceover on it?
Yes, so he does the "Don't be stupid, be a smarty, come and join the Nazi party."
Right.
It's so a thing that even in the musical on stage, they play Mel Brooks' voice.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, and in the musical movie they made also.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny, but I didn't realize that was Mel Brooks right away.
Oh, I picked it up almost immediately.
Yeah.
Just like, oh yeah, that sounds like even though I see a different actor, that's totally Mel Brooks.
Right. Let's see. Bill Macy.
Oh yeah, where he was the foreman at the trial at the end.
Yes.
Yes.
So some of the people I recognized, and so I would need to go back and I looked them up to find out who they were because I recognized Bill Macy. He was from Maude. I don't know if you...
Yeah, I'm familiar with Maude.
Maude, okay.
Yeah.
But he was also in Seinfeld.
Oh.
A couple of episodes of Seinfeld.
Yeah, do you remember which ones or...
Yeah, he is like when they go to Del Boca Vista, where Jerry's parents live.
Mm-hmm.
He's on like the board. He's like the what is he?
Oh, okay. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's like the I can't remember what you call him, but anyways, he's on that.
My phone apparently picked up on that. Sorry, it doesn't understand Seinfeld.
That's funny.
But anyways, yeah, no, that's cool.
Does your phone have something to say about the Producers?
Well, I did look up something on my phone. Interesting fact too. So the character of Franz Liebkin apparently was going to be a completely different actor, and actually a very well-known actor. Do you know who was supposed to actually play that role?
I don't.
Dustin Hoffman.
No, really?
Yeah. So apparently, he was cast in the role. I don't know how that would have gone. That would have been a terrible casting
That
choice.
would have been
Because
weird.
I always heard that he was going to play Gene Wilder's part, but apparently I looked it up. It was actually going to be Franz Liebken. But because Anne Bancroft was in The Graduate, and there was an opening to audition for the lead in that movie, and they didn't think Dustin Hoffman would get the part, and he did, so that forced them to pick somebody else, and then that's when they cast Kenneth Mars.
Okay.
But it just kind of worked out where it's like, I can't imagine Dustin Hoffman doing this role. He's too... You know when I said that everyone's acting at 11 in this? He would not act at 11. Like, he's played broad roles, but nothing that broad.
Right.
So I think that was probably a saving grace in this movie that Dustin Hoffman did not play that role.
That's awesome. Barney Martin. Who? Barney Martin.
Oh, he was he was one of the guys in the play playing Goring.
Oh, the drunk. No. I'm sorry. Goring. Yes.
Yeah, he was the one on stage with Dick Shawn's character in that one.
Also from Seinfeld, he was Morty Seinfeld, Jerry's dad.
Oh, that's why he looks familiar. Wow. That's just 20, 30 years earlier.
Right. And then the other one I picked up on that I thought was funny, William Hickey. He was the drunk in the bar. Mm-hmm. And he is Uncle Lewis from Christmas Vacation.
Oh.
Yeah.
I tried to watch Christmas Vacation. I just couldn't get into it personally.
What? Oh,
I know.
I love those
blasphemy.
shows.
I tried. I tried really hard. Maybe I was in the wrong mindset with that one. I'll have to try it again.
Well, we'll have to try again because I was going to have you on to talk about Christmas Vacation. So
Oh, I see.
you're going to have to.
Well, I mean, it's getting closer to the holidays, so
That's right.
Got to break out the Christmas films. Yeah, no, there's a lot of people. I mean, even the actress who plays Ula, Lee Meredith, that was her first movie role she ever did.
Oh, really?
She also goes by a stage name, but if I recall, she also was in a pretty notable movie called Hair back in the day. It was. Oh, no, sorry. It was Hail. No, sorry. She was in Funny Girl, and then she was in a movie that I really liked, too, The Sunshine Boys, with Walter Matthau and George Burns.
Oh, okay.
Great little...
I haven't seen it, but I know it.
Yeah, it's a Neil Simon play adaptation. So she had a minor role in that one. She kind of stuck more with theater than she did with film and that stuff, from what it sounds like. But she's most famous for very obvious reasons for this movie.
Right.
Like, even they did a retrospective on, I think it was either Gene Wilder specifically or just generally like comedy era of that kind of stuff. And they actually brought in Lee Meredith to do her dance while she was like in her like her 70s or 60s or whatever it was.
Oh my gosh.
She still did it. But no, she was, you know, and it's funny because before we segue over to our next movie, I wanted to talk about the musical that they made about it. So you probably, I'm
The
assuming
Producers?
Yeah. So I'm sure you've not seen the musical.
Nope.
So the musical is an interesting situation for me personally, because I know people love the musical because it came out in the early 2000s, but the musical came out, it was a huge hit. No one saw it coming, like this random adaptation. Pretty much the producers, when you see that there's so many movie musicals being made these days, that's why. The producers...
Oh, really?
Well, because it was one of the earliest of like taking a film that, you know, by that point the producers were well known, but it had been like, what, 40 years, 30 years. But then they adapted it. Mel Brooks rewrote the story. He wrote new songs for it to make it into a musical, and it was a monster hit, both critically and commercially. So then the lead roles for that in the musical are played by Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, which is honestly pretty good casting.
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah.
They're also really great
I
singers.
think I knew about Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. And then Nathan Lane won a Tony Award for it as well.
Okay.
So the musical is an interesting case because then they also adapted it into a movie. And in the movie, Franz Liebken, I can't remember who played him in the show, but in the movie it's played by Will Ferrell, which not the casting choice I would have chosen personally. Like, I like Will Ferrell, but he's not that same
Maybe
level.
not for that.
Yeah, and the big issue I have with the musical is that it changes a lot, and it really shows the difference of Mel Brooks's writing from the 60s version to this version.
Okay.
Because between that version, this version, he started getting more into his wacky, over-the-top, raunchy, dick joke, sex joke, parody stuff.
Right.
So I feel like the musical's biggest sin for me is dumbing down an already fairly lowbrow story. Because they kind of amp up the sex jokes, they amp up some of the more goofy elements, they play it a little bit more broad. LSD is not a character at all in the musical.
Oh, really?
So there's a mixture of reasons, one of which that's at least cited is that they set the play in the 50s instead of the 60s. So they could like, well, it's a dated reference to hippies anyways. And so essentially they split up his role to give Franz Liebkin and Roger, the gay director, more screen time.
Oh, okay.
Because then the whole premise there is that instead of LSD being Hitler, it was going to be Franz Liebkin playing the character, and then he breaks his leg, and last minute Roger Debris plays Hitler, and that's where they get the jokes because he plays gay Hitler essentially on stage. Right. So it's like they're doing a musical, but they have this flamboyant, Roger Debris character, and that's what makes it the so bad it's good because he's just playing it so over the top kind of thing. And it's like there's great stuff to it. It's got some amazing songs. I just feel like it really shows the evolution of Mel Brooks's, well, I guess in my case, de-evolution of his writing style, where everything had to be spelled out and drawn out. And I actually kind of think one of the worst things it did was it changed the ending.
Oh.
Because, not just to fully spoil, but there's a bit of a bittersweet note at the end of this movie.
I think we can do a spoiler alert at this time.
Okay, so quick spoiler, just jump ahead a couple minutes or something like that, or whatever timestamp they'll put on there. But basically, turns out the play's a huge hit. They decide they're going to blow up the theater as their rational approach, apparently, and they accidentally get caught in the blast. They survive, but then they get convicted for the crime of all their embezzlement and go to jail. Now, the play does that, not the blowing up part, but them getting, at least Bialystok getting arrested. But then they do the court scene, and then because of all the good he did to help these ladies and everything else, and they found some other evidence loophole because of Leo Bloom doing accountant stuff,
right?
They just let him go at the end.
Oh.
I actually kind of like it more with the bittersweet ending that they're in jail and yet still plotting their schemes.
They're still working on another thing, right?
Yeah, like the musical takes the route of like, oh, they're still going to plot schemes, but now he got away with it kind of thing. And I'm like, no, I actually kind of like it more. It's like even in jail, they haven't learned a thing.
Right. I thought that was funny in the courtroom after they've tried to blow up the theater and stuff. You see Gene Wilder, he's basically just has a scratch on his head.
Yeah, meanwhile, Franz Liebkin's in a full body cast.
You can't even see him. He's head to toe.
He's trying to sing like America the Beautiful. Right. Yeah, but I think that, and also they tried to do the thing where they gave Ula more of a character. To mixed effect, in my opinion, where it's like, okay, they did make her more of a character with agency and like story to her.
Okay.
It doesn't really change a whole lot. She still is the exact same character.
Yeah, because there wasn't much of a story before. It was
she's
basically just you're looking at her.
Yeah, the joke is she barely speaks English and she's hot. That's the two jokes they make with her character. Right. But yeah, it's like, okay, to mixed effect, it worked all right in the musical kind of thing. But they worked with what they had. I still feel a bit miffed that they cut out LSD as a character because I'm like, okay, I get it. You changed the narrative, but that's like one of the best parts of the movie.
Right. Yeah.
And I guess also just because of Dick Shawn's passing, the way that happened, they didn't want to. Yeah, no one could do the character better than him, essentially.
Okay, well,
maybe. I'm trying to give them more credit than probably they actually have.
Sure.
But yeah, I guess, would you recommend this movie for people to watch then?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I had never seen it before, but I think that it was an awesome show.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. And there was, a little bit of political stuff in there that I thought was kind of interesting. But it was a lot of fun to watch. So it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is a great old school comedy, I feel like. Yeah. It's funny, it's silly, it's broad. It kind of made me think of when I watched the new Liam Neeson Naked Gun movie that came out.
Okay.
Where it's like, if you can get with the premise that it's meant to be silly and broad and a little dumb, you'll have a good time.
Yeah, just relax with that.
Yeah. Like, this isn't like that level of lowbrow. It's still pretty lowbrow, but you're like, hey, it's meant to entertain you. That's its main goal. And on the whole, other than some dated references, it's entertaining.
Yeah. How about Young Frankenstein?
How about Young Frankenstein? Now, when I talk about The Producers being one of my favorite comedies, this is another one of my favorite comedies.
So of the two, which one do you kind of feel like you like one better than the other?
It's really hard to say. I think Young Frankenstein is almost the perfect fusion of Mel Brooks' talents as a writer and director, because it's going more into the pop culture parody stuff that he would do for the rest of his career.
Okay.
But it still has a fairly good story to it. Like, it's not... The story hasn't completely dissolved in favor of the jokes yet at this point.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think it's better than The Producers in that sense, but I also think it's maybe a little funnier. Like, The Producers is a better story, but I think the Young Frankenstein has some better scenes and better jokes.
I'd probably agree with that.
Yeah.
I think I did like the story of The Producers a little more than Young Frankenstein, but it's Young Frankenstein.
Yeah. So, quick premise for the Young Frankenstein then.
Yeah.
Basically, well, it's the plot of Frankenstein, essentially. But in this case, he is essentially I think, was it the nephew of Victor Frankenstein?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but of course he pronounced it Frankenstein because he doesn't want to be associated with that quack and that weirdo.
Right. That was another funny part that I'll come back to.
Yeah. But basically, yeah, he gets summoned over to where the original plot took place, the original story, because he essentially has inherited the role of Frankenstein, and through series of circumstances gets himself caught up into the whole thing of trying to redo the experiment and bring a guy back from the dead, and comedy and chaos ensues.
Right. So I thought it was really funny. He's at the hospital. Well, I'm assuming it's a hospital.
Oh, at the beginning of the film?
Yeah, the beginning. Of the film.
That was a university, I think. He was lecturing there.
So he's lecturing, he's teaching, he's taking questions and stuff, and he's talking about how the uncle,
Victor Frankenstein.
right? He was off base. He was crazy. None of that was good science or good medical practice
Not
or
ethical,
any of the right.
yeah.
All those things. And then he gets this summons that says you get to go have this place now.
Yeah, you've inherited his castle.
Right. And as soon as he gets there, it's like it all just changes.
Yeah.
He's now he just goes crazy, and he's going to do the same thing.
It's funny though, they kind of hint at him being already a little crazy even when he's at the medical school, because he's giving this lecture and I believe he stabs himself in the leg. And he's like, class dismissed. And it's just yeah, you can see again, it's that whole Gene Wilder thing of this seemingly mild-mannered man who hides the crazy just underneath the surface,
right?
Kind of thing until it explodes.
Right.
But yeah, you gotta, even more than the first one, you got a pretty, stellar cast that he's working with here too. If I'm not mistaken, I got my little list here. I mean, freaking Marty Feldman as Igor, great comic actor.
Yeah, they didn't even have to do any makeup or anything on him. I think he was just set.
They just made him hunch a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Then Terry Garr in it, Cloris Leachman.
Terry Garr did a fantastic job.
Oh, she was funny. It's funny because where she's kind of playing that kind of character, in almost all Mel Brooks movies, the hot girl,
right?
But she's also just a funny character herself, right. It's she's almost a better version of Ula from The Producers, where she's got, her main goal is to fall in love with him, also...
That's funny you say Ula, because that's what I thought of when I saw Terry Garr, and of course the way she's dressed.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought of, was when they just pulled that character over into Young Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, but no, she's a legitimately funny actress.
Yeah.
I've seen her in other films too, where she's able to keep up with people and that stuff.
Yeah.
Kenneth Mars is great as the inspector in the town with his weird his wooden arm that he has to keep moving manually to be able to do stuff.
Right.
I mean, again, that's a very Kenneth Mars character of just these over the top weirdos. King Triton's probably his more dramatic role I've seen him in comparison. Even there's some really great cameos in this movie too, because if you notice in the background, there's some people freaking Gene Hackman shows up in this movie. In this so you remember the blind man?
Hold on a second. No, I don't remember that.
The blind guy who was pouring soup on Frankenstein on the monster's lap and lit his finger on fire.
That was Gene Hackman?
That was Gene Hackman. He was just buried under wigs and makeup. And he's hilarious in that role.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just a bunch of little cameos like that too, because that was when Gene Hackman, shortly after he won his Oscar for The French Connection, just suddenly oh yeah, by the way, just casually showing up in Young Frankenstein.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, but there's, like I said, it's not so much about the plot, because the plot is just a very silly version of the Frankenstein movie, but it's just got great funny gags, both the witty banter, the visual gags, dealing with the abnormal brains,
right.
and
The other thing that I thought was really cool that I was really impressed with, and I think you had mentioned maybe off air, was the set.
Yes. So
I was amazed at the detail that was in the set and all that kind of went into it. It was just like, holy mackerel.
Oh yeah, like they repurposed a bunch of the old sets from the original Frankenstein movie, just with more set dressing essentially.
Right.
And it's actually a fairly, like, if I have to say there's any one movie that's like the most stylish Mel Brooks movie, I would say it's this one. Because, I mean, obviously silent movies trying to recreate the old silent black and white story kind of thing. But I feel like this one has such a great sense of style to look like an old school Universal monster movie, with the black and white photography, the sound quality, the set work, the costumes. It's a pretty good looking movie, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it even got a Oscar nomination for its sound work and then for its script also, apparently. So,
Nice.
which, technically adapted screenplay just because it's technically based on Frankenstein, the book kind of thing.
Did you, there's Gene Hackman. You're right.
Told you. Yeah, no, it's a great little cameo just out of nowhere where he meets this blind guy. And of course, the gag, just that he's blind, he can't see what he's doing. So he tries to pour into the bowl and just pours hot soup onto the monster's lap. Speaking of which, one of my favorite things of this movie is the monster, because that's Peter Boyle from from Everyone Loves Raymond, the dad.
Yeah.
That dude's funny. Like, even doing this mostly nonverbal role, he's just got such a great. There's just something about his face.
I don't know. Have you watched Everybody Loves Raymond?
Oh yeah, he's hilarious in that show.
So he just took the monster character and just became the dad.
Yeah, no, he's funny. Like it really helps that they somehow make you like actually sympathetic to the monster in the story, because he's not, he is a reanimated corpse, but he's just. There's something like just very charming and childish and sweet about him.
Right.
Even being this horrifying creature.
I think it was the brain.
His abnormal brain.
It may have done that.
But yeah, there's just great scenes. Like I can when I think of them, there's like a half dozen gags and jokes and scenes I can think off the top of my head. Like the running gag with Cloris Reachman being Franz Blucher, and everyone just
and then the horses. Right.
Just anytime someone says it without fail, it happens.
So I had heard that that has something to do with glue in German or Germany.
Oh, probably like a German word or
something
a play on the word.
It's related to that or something like that. And that's what would make the horses go crazy.
Yeah, so I think I'm assuming Bluka must have some kind of word like that. But yeah, there's that. There's all the stuff they do inside the actual like laboratory.
Right.
There's, gosh, I don't want to even like say everything. I want people to actually watch it, because there's I gotta say though, maybe one of the single best scenes that Mel Brooks has ever done is the Puttin on the Ritz scene.
Yeah,
that is probably one of the funniest bits I've seen in any Mel Brooks movie.
They take the monster and turn him into they put him on Broadway almost.
Well, so because they're trying to show him off to the academic community, like, see, look how functional and he's doing basic tests at first. It's like walk forward and touch your nose, kind of things, and then they do this elaborate dance number.
Right.
So it's just funny. Just every time they cut to him, just doing the
right.
It's just great. Like again, me just doing this terrible imitation isn't enough to tell you like how just great it is watching that scene when it happens. Yeah, I honestly, again, like, there's probably nitpicky things you can say where it's like, yeah, it's not exactly a strong narrative with it, but it's not meant to be. It's meant to be just a movie full of jokes. And it just so happens to have a story tying it all together.
Right. Did you see in this one any political stuff?
It's somewhat. I'm sure you can make some points, but I don't feel like that was as big a focus of this one. Like Blazing Saddles was the one that had a lot more like overt social commentary stuff with like racial and other kind of stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yeah, so this one I don't feel like that's as inherent. It's kind of, again, it's just a parody of Frankenstein, pretty much. Just whatever is inherently social commentary about the Frankenstein story, I feel like is the movie itself here in this case. Yeah, but no, I again, I don't know if I like this more than Producers, but I also can't think of anything I didn't like about this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I think, honestly, it's funny. It's rewatchable. Like, again, having seen this multiple times, it's still funny to watch it.
Yeah.
It's still a good time. And even little just weird random little gags like using Kenneth Mars as a battering ram when they're trying to get into the castle.
Right.
just stuff like that where you just go, this movie just never stops thinking of weird things.
Right.
Like at most, the only thing I can
A
say,
lot of little silly stuff.
oh yeah, like at most, the only thing I can say is that the wife character for Gene Wilder, she's fine. Like, she's not my favorite character, but they do some really funny gags with her as they go along.
You're talking about Madeline Kahn.
Yes, where she's playing his fiancée from the beginning.
Yeah. And he basically can't touch her.
Yeah. That's the
Everything is you can't do that.
yeah. And then even when she comes back into the story and then the really insane directions that goes afterwards.
Right.
Like, that's maybe like the only gags because it's like, okay, jokes, kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, those aren't my favorite gags, but that's like the only gags I feel like don't really work at all in this one.
I thought it was funny at the train station when he's getting ready to leave, and he can't kiss her and he can't touch her and he can't
her nails and everything else. Yeah,
but he blows her a kiss and she won't even let that can't even happen.
Okay, that part's funny. Yeah,
it's like what?
Yeah, but no, I think it's great. I think it's just so. Had you seen this movie before?
I've seen Young Frankenstein a couple times before, a long time ago.
So this one's not as fresh as Producers in that case.
Right.
Yeah.
But I did sit down and watch Young Frankenstein actually this morning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I watched Producers last night, Young Frankenstein this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What I didn't do is I didn't get any notes.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to make notes on this one. So I'm just kind of going off of what I remember from it.
Yeah. No, I mean, and the thing is too is that it actually was quite a substantial hit as well. I mean, it cost about, if I say the Producers cost $1 million, I think this one cost about just under $3 million to produce, but it made. Sorry.
How far into movies for Mel Brooks? Where does this come in line from the Producers? How far in is he?
This is his. I think it's his second film afterwards. But that's also saying this and Blazing Saddles both came out the same year in 1974.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this was like after the Producers. Then he took some time to do some other work, and then I think these were his next outings after that.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't recall he did any other films in between in that case.
Yeah, I don't know.
But for me, it really is the trifecta for me for his films. It's Producers, Young Frankenstein, and Blazing Saddles. Those are like his top 3 films. And even me saying, I'm not crazy about Blazing Saddles, but I do remember that movie quite a bit. There's movies like Spaceballs. You could say it's funny in that it's so dumb. It's kind of funny in some ways too. It's got great gags in it.
Yeah.
And then there's like Robin Hood Men in Tights, which I don't personally like very much.
I haven't seen that one.
It's got like maybe 2 jokes in it I liked.
I may have started that one at one time, but I don't think I watched it all the way through. I have seen Spaceballs though a couple times.
Yeah, and I feel like because the Producers relatively when it came out wasn't as well received originally. Like, it got a very mixed response from critics, but it kind of built up its reputation over time, I feel like.
Okay.
Where I feel that by that point, Young Frankenstein actually was much more warmly received because, well, one, it's less controversial in terms of its subject matter. And 2, I think Mel Brooks had gotten a lot more confident in the types of movies he was making by that point. But yeah, this one was a monster hit. I think it cost like $3 million and it made like $88 million back. So, big return.
Oh, yeah. That is a good head start.
Oh yeah, but then, it just, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like Young Frankenstein, I just can't think of anything I didn't enjoy other than like a couple gags I didn't find funny. But other than that, it's not even a fault of the movie itself. It's just like that; those jokes just don't strike me as much. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I totally recommend people watch it. I think if you watch these 2 back to back, this is a great slice of like old school comedy movies.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the big thing you have to know, too, is that Young Frankenstein is directly parodying a bunch of stuff from classic monster movies. So there are inside jokes that will go completely over your head if you don't know what they're talking about. The one that comes to mind, you remember that scene with the little girl by the lake?
Uh-huh.
So have you seen the original Frankenstein movie?
Yeah.
So you got the joke there where they're trying to think of, like, so what else should we throw in there? And the guy just looks to the camera and shakes his head.
Right.
So it's like... Okay, so if you don't know that's a direct callback to the original movie, that'll definitely go over your head.
Right.
But I feel like the movie is accessible enough that, even if you haven't seen those movies, you'll still get most of it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, would you agree on that or?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I'm a big fan of callbacks to things. I love seeing movies where it has something from some other movie that they pull into it.
Oh, something cool I found out too. Actually, sorry, I just looked over and I saw
You're
a thing
good.
there. You remember the gag about Marty Feldman's hump constantly switching sides?
Yes.
That was apparently improvised
Oh,
because they just decided like screw continuity on that one, and they just started making that a direct joke where he's talking like, "Oh, so wait, what about your hump there?
Right.
What hump?"
Well, the first time it happened, when Gene Wilder has his hand on his shoulder and he says, "Wait, wasn't your hump?" Oh, never mind. I was thinking, I wonder if that was planned or if it just got put to the wrong side, and Gene Wilder's like, "Hey, what's going on here?"
Yeah, so apparently that was just a joke they just decided to do while they
Okay.
were filming. They're like, you know what, just roll with it.
Right.
No one's taking it seriously anyway.
Right. It's all part of the silliness. Yeah.
But yeah, but no, callback humor, like again, callback humor is a really hard one to balance out because some callbacks can be timeless, and then some are like so specifically dated that if you don't know what they're talking about, it's not funny. And
Right.
even sometimes if you do what they're talking about, it isn't funny.
Yeah.
So, but I think here, like with this stuff, it isn't callback for callback's sake because it's specifically a love letter to the Universal monster movies in that case. So
Yeah.
it knows it knows that if the audience knows what it's doing, they'll get it in that in that case. Because I mean, you know, some of the worst movies I've ever seen are some movies that like are nothing but callbacks or parodies.
Yeah.
Like,
So I think if you're sitting down and you're wanting an action movie, or you're wanting to see a bunch of special effects, or stuff like that, this isn't it. But if you're wanting to just see some silly fun
yeah,
stuff that was really well written.
yeah, yeah. No, these are it's a timeless classic. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like this and Producers in their own way both have held up really well over the years.
Right.
Like Blazing Saddles, I feel like in comparison, it does have some really great gags, but it's got some very dated gags as well too. Where it's
Right.
like, yeah, some of this you have to have caught it in the era it came out to really find it funny. You know,
What's the one on Blazing Saddles? What's the one? Who's he talking to? Gene Wilder's talking to. Is his name Sonny? I can't remember his name.
the main character.
Yeah.
Oh, the main character is main character is Bart, played by Cleavon Little. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah. So they're talking. I can't remember what has happened, but Gene Wilder's kind of talking to him and saying, "You got to remember these are folks of the land."
It's the scene right after the old lady said a really nasty racial slur at
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
And then, so
morons.
and then that was actually Cleavon's actual reaction when he
Right.
laughed because he was not anticipating Gene Wilder to say that. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like it is very much talking about like a social commentary thing of the time kind of thing, and some of those jokes still hold up. Just in that, like, wow, that's some pretty dark humor,
Right.
kind of thing. But it still is like, yeah, I mean, those kind of topics age fairly well. I think the stuff that dates worse is like the more referencey things to things of that time, like the culture of the 70s kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, I think Young Frankenstein, I think of all of them, is probably the most timeless. Like, it just, most of the humor, you just can get it without having any context.
Right.
I feel like.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, what else you got? Anything for either of them?
Oh, I mean, that's mostly it for both of them. I think we covered a lot of the behind the scenes stuff and some of those things. But, and again, I feel weird talking about this because these are two of my favorite comedies ever. Also to say, I'm not really that crazy about a lot of Mel Brooks movies otherwise. It's like he kind of peaked, I feel like, at his first 3 movies, and then everything else he's done has been fine or terrible.
Right.
Yeah,
and I think you're right. I mean, even for me, I was kind of skimming back through stuff that he has done, and Spaceballs I liked, but
It's dumb.
it's just silly.
Yeah, it's only that one's only the gags. Like the plot does not matter at all in that
Right.
one.
So he has done a ton of stuff, but you're right. There's only a few things that I can think of, like Young Frankenstein, that I think, yeah, this is Mel Brooks. This is a good show.
Yeah. No, I mean, even looking at his stuff here, like he's written other stuff that he hasn't directed also.
Yeah.
And then sometimes he's cameoed in like stuff. But, Yeah, even his directorial outings. I mean, geez, yeah, I don't think any of these movies I've seen or liked. Other than Spaceballs being like,
Well,
okay, Spaceballs has funny scenes.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what the next 100 years holds, what he's going to put out.
Well, I mean, supposedly he helped write one of the Paws of Fury movie. I think it was like some animated parody movie that came out a while back. Oh, that one. I remember that now. I saw the trailer for it and I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't care who wrote it. Yeah, that's just, oh, well. Oh, right. And I forgot he was in Toy Story 4. Which the whole joke, the character's name is Maleficent Brooks. I forgot. That's how much I remember Toy Story 4.
Nice.
But yeah, no, I think, even though Spaceballs 2 is apparently a thing that's happening right now, I don't anticipate it's going to be actually good. Because again, History of the World Part 2 wasn't really good at all.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? It's just nice to have Mel Brooks around. That's probably the most you can say. It's just like, hey, he's almost 100. He's had a very successful career. Let him do what he wants, essentially.
Go. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we got anything else?
No, I think that's it. I think that's a short and sweet coverage of Mel Brooks as a director.
Nice.
And yeah, I think, it's just nice to be able to watch comedies. I feel like nowadays, especially, we don't get a lot of like straightforward comedy films because I don't want to just say it purely on this sense, but there is a lot of it's so hard to make jokes without somebody getting offended kind of thing.
Nowadays, yeah, that's pretty much almost guaranteed.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, you can have funny jokes in movies. Like, it seems like nowadays to make comedies, you have to do action comedies or dark comedies or dramatic comedies.
Right.
And those all have a place, but it's just, I feel like we could just use more comedy movies, just something that's made with the express purpose of being silly and not gross. Because I feel like that's the thing that's taking its place is the more like raunchy comedies. Like, because like the 2000s, we had the sex comedies, Superbad, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then now we got kind of a weird in between of like these R-rated comedies that are like, they can't be offensive, but they also can't be funny because then it means you have to be at someone else's expense kind of thing. And we're just kind of, I don't know. They're just not the same like they've been kind of thing. So it makes me sad that Naked Gun wasn't as huge a box office hit as I hoped kind of thing either. Like it made money, just not a ton, compared to what they were hoping, I'm sure. Yeah. But please just make more comedies. We need more.
It seems like humor has just kind of taken a turn to, I don't know.
Yeah. Humor either comes at the point of you can only make fun of easy targets, like certain political parties that you don't like, and unfortunately those are too simple because everyone makes the same jokes over that. Or it has to be gross comedy, and it's like, okay, we have our gross comedies that we see. Even Naked Gun had some really gross gags, but part of the charm of that one, the gross gags were done like, did you ever watch Austin Powers back in the day?
Yep.
So it was done in that kind of way of like, they're raunchy gags, but they're done in clever ways to like cover up or censor things or play with your imagination.
Right.
So there's a way to do that kind of humor without having to just do gross sex gags or, this kind of stuff. I just want more comedies. It would just be nice to see more comedies. Like, I love my action movies. I love my dramas. I love my popcorn films. It would be nice to have a comedy.
Yeah.
So.
Just a nice comedy.
Yeah. So more comedies like this.
Right on. Awesome. Well, let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
Justin Zarian, co-hosts extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire. I'm going to put that on my resume title now.
There you go. And we're gone. Thanks for listening to My Dad's Movie Podcast. We had a lot of fun creating it, and we hope you enjoyed it.
For more content, please check us out at Facebook and YouTube at My Dad's Movie Podcast.
And always, if you'd like to help support us, please check out our Patreon at My Dad's Movie Podcast.
Thanks for listening, everybody.